So, in this video, I want to continue to raise awareness about corruption and what that is and how does that happen. Basically, this comes from a kind of indifference or really just quite simply, it's an indifference or a dullness in the mind. And how does it develop? It develops through formalisms that have a certain kind of inertia that will suppress our ability to know right from wrong. And so what ends up happening is that it's just all of these formalisms that have a kind of a habitual tendencies backing them that will suppress our understanding of a moral quality or moral understanding, our gentle relatedness, and then what happens with that is basically that it's it needs to be addressed, and the way that we can address that is through understanding the need for a moral capacity, which has the right kind of value system behind it. And because these inertias, these are simply formalisms that will have the motivation is basically becomes like a kind of a utility. It becomes hedonic, and then this motivation is not the right one, so we have to take care of that, and we have to be very careful with the motivation, that we should not be indifferent to the motivational factor. And so to do that, we have to really interrupt these habitual tendencies that have a certain amount of inertia. And in order to do that, we will need to really understand what is the root cause of that inertia, which has a physical correlate of dopamine, and so through these dopamine pathways, what happens is that these habitual patterns of thought, speech, or whatever habitual patterns there might be, gain a kind of inertia. And when that happens, when there's an inability to change that inertia, when there is a very strong inertia, or even just a slight inertia, it will suppress our ability to know right from wrong, because we have to know fundamentally what is that inertia about, and it's a pattern formations. formations of these habitual tendencies. And right and wrong is knowing right from wrong, uh, knowing the difference between right and wrong is a matter of a moral kind of consideration. And so before we take an action, before we continue in a habitual pattern, we would understand is the motivation, what is the motivation of that? And is it compassion? Is it a motivation of awareness? Does it have awareness and compassion? Or is it simply something else, like a more base level emotion or motivation? And it's important to recognize that the motivation does have to be these boundless states, like equanimity and joy, compassion and loving kindness. So we're always checking the motivation, and as soon as we begin to check the motivation and to be aware of a motivation, then what happens is that these patterns are interrupted, and we can have something with an element of grace involved, so that we can do something that's appropriate, and which is not sort of constrained by these patterns that were developed through like a spatial and time-like interactions or relatedness. Then we can be contextual in our relatedness, and then from there it will be possible to be appropriate in what we're doing, and to have a right kind of a motivation, which is to not be affected by these debased motivations.